Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio by Jonathan Voico.
How you doing?
Writer, director, producer, Robert Meyer Burnett.
Jonathan Voico told me that Strange New World Season 3 debuts this week, and now I'm depressed.
Because you can't see it today? Is that why you're depressed? Because it's the highest critically rated Star Trek of all time? Is that why you're depressed? Anyway, and most importantly, of course, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a number of predetermined topics we got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show, well, that's when we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, question, or an issue you'd like us to discuss, as long as we deem it appropriate to be discussed on the show, we reserve the right to not answer any question that comes in if we don't think it's appropriate. But just go ahead and fire it on into our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. And here's the good news about the tip link. It's actually good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you're listening to our show on podcast, either on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or if you're watching this show a little bit later in the day, you can still send in a question. And if you send one in when we're not live, we'll just get around to answering it on the next episode. All right, guys. That down. Let's get things kicked off here with a bit of a off the top, if you will. We weren't planning on talking about this, but this literally just rolled in 30 seconds before we started the show. So Superman, of course, hit theaters. The second biggest comic book movie openings since the end of 2022. I think the only comic book movie in the last number of years that had a better opening weekend was Deadpool and Wolverine, which did it by quite a bit. Also, like one of the highest opening weekends of any film of the last couple of years as well. But as we said on the show before, the kryptonite for this movie is going to be its international. Obviously, it's doing great domestically, but it's falling a little bit further behind internationally. Kind of expect that with the Superman title, especially right now with, well, let's be honest, America's not the favorite neighbor on the block right now with the rest of the world. So it's going to hurt it a little bit, but still, it's been kind of rolling. Yesterday, we found out that, Rob, I think you were telling me it was about 15 million it made on a Monday.
Almost 13.
Almost 13, which made it, I think, the second biggest Monday of the year. Well, now this just came out. Superman has earned the highest Tuesday box office of any film in 2025 with a domestic pull of just on Tuesday of $17.1 million. That's a $30 million total on Monday, Tuesday, which again, by the way, would mark the highest Monday, Tuesday combo of any film of the year so far. You know, Rob, we suspected, at least domestically, that this thing is going to probably have pretty good legs rolling into the weekend, because really all it's got coming up against it is I Know What You Did Last Summer and Smurfs. And when I checked, I Know What You Did Last Summer had like a 43% and Smurfs had like a 31%. And I honestly expect those numbers to drop. So I don't think it's going to have much headwind. I think it's going to do pretty well there, but it's even doing strong during the week, because I'll be honest with you. I think you and I were talking about this. I said, you know, us comic book movie fans, when we want to see a new comic book movie, we tend to rush out to see it in the first 48 hours that it's out. And yeah. I was kind of half expecting it to do well on its second weekend, but not so well during the week.
Well, what did I say?
You said, yes, it will. I'm paraphrasing.
Families.
And the families are going out on the Mondays and Tuesdays. And again, I mean, you're putting in context of all of its contemporaries, the best performance on a Monday, Tuesday of any film this year. That's better than I thought it would do.
Well, you know, I have read on social media that there's a lot of people that have said my family took the kids, took the wife, my family went out, and we all loved it.
Yeah, I mean, you see that a lot all over the place.
And I think that I always said that. I mean, you couldn't look, as much as we love Man of Steel, those movies were not exactly the feel-good movies of the summer for families to go see.
Right.
You know, whereas this...
And that was reflected in the audience scores and everything.
Absolutely. And this movie's fun. You know, for those of us who are open-minded a little bit, you know, well, it's fun. You got crypto. And I know there's a lot of people that object to, and I've read some really great criticism of the film as well. I'm not saying that. There's a lot of people that the tone of it is not what they wanted for a Superman movie.
Sure, it's not. Yeah, no tone is going to be for
And
everybody.
I can understand that, but I keep going back to the fact that I did not want a funny Justice League comic in the mid '80s. J.M. DeMatteis and Keith Giffen gave us a comedy Justice League that Kevin Maguire, basically his debut, the way he drew faces, and I was totally won over. It was a hoot. It was hilarious. It was very different than what I wanted, and the idea of it I would reject. But then when I finally got into the comic, it became one of my favorite comics, and I think James Gunn's taking a little from some cues from that. And you just have to be open-minded about certain things, I think. And families are buying into this because it's fun.
Here's a question I have for you. Like, it did great on the Monday and Tuesday. How do you see it performing midweek now in the second half of the week? Now we're getting into the Wednesdays and Thursday. Thursday is when I Know What You Did Last Summer and Smurfs open up. How do you see it holding on right now?
Well, the thing is, I think Smurfs are for younger audiences.
Right.
But the thing about Superman is we're in the summer, John. We're in the middle of the summer months, literally in the middle of July, which is the height of the summer. It's hot out. People want to go to the movies. There's a fun Superman movie in the theater. So if someone gets shot in the head, it's still a fun movie. And I think parents are taking kids. Kids like it because it's edgy enough that it doesn't feel like, well, a Smurfs movie. And they feel like they're getting something out of it. They're seeing something crazy and wacky and fun and crypto and Superman and Mr. Terrific and a pocket universe and buildings falling down. You've got a big rift with a proton river. I mean,
well, don't give too much away.
Sorry. I mean, there's just a lot. Robots. By the way, have you noticed on social media they've been showing clips that aren't in the movie?
I have not.
There's like a clip. There's one of Crypto sleeping.
Oh, I saw that.
And he falls.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like he's asleep and he falls down.
But he floats.
He's floating in the air and he wakes up and he falls out of the sky.
Oh, that's adorable.
And then there's another one where Crypto's digging. He goes into it's where he wrecked the Fortress of Solitude. And he goes in and then one of the Superman robots sticks its head out of the hole that he's dug like he was already in there. There's a lot of this movie that we haven't seen.
Well, I was doing part 2 of my Superman open spoiler discussion last night. And people asked, do you think there's going to be like a gun cut extended edition? I said, I don't know if there's going to be an extended edition, but I do expect there to be a lot of lot of bonus footage. I think there's going to be a lot of deleted scenes as a side thing. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Guys, question is for you. Superman's doing pretty well so far. Best performance midweek of any film so far this year. How do you think that's going to hold up rolling into the weekend? And how much is the less than stellar response for it internationally going to have on its overall totals? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. That down. Let's move on to this. Also, breaking news. Off the top, literally dropped 7 minutes ago. You guys might remember that the very first preview that came out for the Fantastic Four, one of the faces we got to see was that of one John Malkovich. Well, it is now official. Variety has just reported that John Malkovich's Red Ghost has been cut from the movie. He's been cut out of Fantastic Four. The director says it was heartbreaking not to include him. I am reading this for the first time, so you're hearing this with me. Let's read it. The Red Ghost has escaped. Actor John Malkovich will no longer appear in Marvel Studios' The Fantastic Four First Steps as Ivan Kragoff, because remember we had a lot of debate about who we thought John Malkovich was going to be, aka the Red Ghost, one of the earliest villains to battle the superhero quartet in the comics. Director Matt Shakman confirmed the decision to cut Malkovich out of the movie in a wide-ranging interview with Variety about his career and his experience in making film. Let's see what he says. Malkovich's scenes came early in the Fantastic Four, part of a lengthy sequence detailing the titular family's early years as superheroes, including when they battled the Red Ghost and his team of super apes. The first teaser trailer for the movie even includes a brief shot of Malkovich's character, and Shakman said the actor was brilliant and he gave it his all. But the need to service an extensive cast that includes Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, Eben Moss-Bachrach, Julia Gardner, and Ralph Ineson, as well as a story that begins years into the Fantastic Four superhero lives as Reed Sue welcomed their first child, led the filmmakers to realize that Malkovich's appearance wasn't working with the full story. All right. I have two feelings about this. Feeling number one. That sucks. I love John Malkovich.
Me too.
To coin one of your phrases, he classes up the joint whenever he shows up in something. And so that's a bummer. On the other hand, I love hearing a filmmaker committed to everything has to be in service to the movie. And even though you have John Malkovich, if it's not working with the movie anymore, take it out. I love that. I think too many filmmakers fall in love with their stuff, which is why a lot of times one of my big critiques of movies I watch was it needed like 10 minutes trimmed out. It needed 15. It drags in some places. That's often because filmmakers refuse to take out certain things that they should just take out. And even though it's John Malkovich, and even though I would have loved to have seen him in it, I think if their determination was this wasn't working for the film anymore, let's just take it out. Here's the other thing that makes me feel okay about it, Rob. Hearing that this was just in the opening of the film, in the first bit of the film, kind of like a flashback. He's one of the first villains they fought. It doesn't sound like his character was actually going to be completely relevant to the plot anyway. So while I'm going to say it kind of sucks that we're not going to see John Malkovich in there, I also really respect why they're doing it. And it doesn't sound like we're going to be missing out on much anyway. Anyway, Rob, like me, you are just hearing this now for the first time. What's your reaction to John Malkovich being cut from Fantastic Four?
Well, I've loved John Malkovich. I've loved him since I saw him in the Killing Fields in the 80s and back in 84, 85. I loved him in Empire of the Sun, Spielberg's Empire of the Sun. I've loved the guy for 40 years. He's never delivered, even though Matt Damon tells a great story about Rounders, making Rounders.
That was hilarious. I saw him tell that story.
I love that story. But I love John Malkovich. But here's the thing. It's nice to know that they're really cracking down on these films to make sure that they're working. You know, and maybe, you remember how on physical media, well, you might not remember this, they would put these shorts on, like Marvel shorts.
Oh, yeah.
That
one-shots.
One-shots.
They were called the one-shots.
Yeah.
I remember the first one was who was meeting in the diner? It was Coulson.
Yeah.
Was meeting with the guy who later turned out to be a Hydra agent in a diner and stuff like that.
Yeah. Maybe they could put this, they haven't done those in a long time. If it works, I mean, if it's just
a one-shot.
Yeah, a beginning, a middle, and an end, a Marvel one-shot, see the history of the Fantastic Four, because if it was from the beginning of the movie, you've got John Malkovich, they've already paid him, and I'm sure he would, unless it just doesn't work at all. But if it actually could be a beginning, a scene that has a beginning, a middle, and an end, see the Fantastic Four's first confrontation with Red Ghost, that'd be kind of cool.
You know what movie of his I always like, and I'm freezing on the title, so help me out. I loved it. I still remember this one scene of his. There's no dialogue. He's just sitting in some grass. It's the one he did with Clint Eastwood, where Clint Eastwood is the
Secret Service.
The Secret Service agent.
Oh, he's a dude. That's in the line of fire.
In the line of fire.
And it's the first time I ever saw. Now I've seen it 100 times since, but it's the first time I ever saw a movie where a guy is putting together a plastic.
Yes,
gun.
he's assembling the gun.
The hunters come up to him.
Yeah.
What's that?
That I remember.
He's got the racer's
almost
cap
without
on.
Much dialogue. It's like, oh my god, this guy's like one of the greatest actors alive. Like he's so good.
He's great in that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, would you be surprised to know that I have that on 4K?
I would not at all. Would not at all. And then of course he was great in Red.
So good.
Retired Extremely Dangerous.
And Cyrus the Virus.
Cyrus the Virus.
Con Air.
Yep.
Oh, do you have
he's
Death
so
of a
good.
Salesman on Steelbook with him?
I do not.
I got one.
There, you got one over him. All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? Apparently, according to Variety, it's now official. John Malkovich, who was in the very first trailer, has been cut out of Fantastic Four. It sounds like just because it didn't work with the movie anymore. I'm bummed that we're not going to see him, but I like that the filmmakers are committed to the movie first. I don't know. Whatever you guys feel about this, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? I've seen Superman 3 times. I still can't believe I haven't seen it 4 yet. Ann and I are going to go see it for a 4th time tonight yet. But each of the three times that I've seen it, huge responses from the audience, big laughs, stuff like that. But each time, one of the biggest pops is when Kara shows up. And I won't say at what point in the movie or anything like that, but she's in the cast list. She's there. Was when Kara shows up. Supergirl shows up. And consistently, it was either in my 3 screenings, the biggest pop of the movie or one of the biggest pops of the movie. Everybody got excited about it, and the scene got received very well. Well, James Gunn has now took to social media and put out the first official promo image for Supergirl, and it looks like this. Look out. And I got to tell you, I love it. It is extremely like I get vibes of Shazam and Guardians of the Galaxy when I look at this.
Yep. It's great.
And I love both of those movies. So there you go. I also just, instead of look up, look out. I love that. And here's the bigger thing to me. Other than just the image itself, which, you know, getting this image is a big deal in and of itself. You know what's coming up in like 10 days? San Diego Comic-Con. You know who's going to be there?
You?
James Gunn.
Oh.
Oh yeah, maybe me. I still don't know yet. I might go. I might. Ann and I might go out for a day. Because it's only like an hour and a half drive for us to San Diego from here. What happens normally, Rob, when a poster or a big promotional image comes out?
I don't know, John. A trailer?
Usually some kind of teaser follows, right? Usually. I mean, not always. I suspect that we are indeed going to be getting our first teaser of Supergirl at Comic-Con. I don't know whether they'll put it online, but I think we're going to get it at Comic-Con. And there's something else to keep in mind here. Like, not just because normally you put out a promotional image as a herald of a coming teaser clip.
I herald the arrival
of Supergirl.
of a
teaser.
Supergirl teaser.
But also this, don't forget, they've been shooting this movie for a while.
It's wrapped.
Have they? Oh yeah, well, I know Jason Momoa wrapped. I don't know.
No,
if
they wrapped like in February.
They did wrap.
Yeah.
Well, not in February.
It was back.
It was a while ago?
Maybe February, March.
So don't forget, like you might think, yeah, but the movie's still a year away. Don't forget, James Gunn debuted the very first teaser of Guardians of the Galaxy when they were literally 1 week into shooting.
Yeah.
It was just that, you know, what a bunch of a-holes thing. So they shot that, put it together and say, bring it to Comic-Con. So they've shot the movie, and it's still a year away, I get it, but James Gunn is not afraid to bring early footage and show it to CinemaCon, and they're dropping this thing. So first of all, I love the image. I think the image is baller.
That's great.
I think it's great. But I'm convinced, no insider information, but I am convinced we're going to get a teaser of it at CinemaCon or at Comic-Con. Keep saying CinemaCon.
Totally.
Anyway, what do you think about this?
Well, first of all, is Superman, the movie, doing a tie-in with Slurpee, with 7-Eleven? Because it looks like she's got a Slurpee cup in her hand, a Superman Slurpee cup, which would be a genius little bit of marketing. I'm just saying that. But see, look, it's got the, you know, the top, the little, I don't know if it's, but
It's blue.
what people forget about this is that Supergirl is based on Tom King's comic
Woman of
miniseries,
Tomorrow.
Woman of Tomorrow. That's a great
So good.
miniseries. And I think by showing some of Supergirl, it helps people understand the direction of this universe, because it's a different story than the Superman that we got. And then also it
gets brutal. Like that Woman of Tomorrow story gets
it gets
quite
brutal. And the tone of it is very different. Then we have Lanterns, which I'm sure James Gunn will also be showing us clips from, because
I hope so.
We saw that picture a long time
Ages ago.
You know, of Coach Taylor and Rebel Ridge of Aaron Pierre.
Taylor.
And I mean, I can't wait to see that. So you've got, now that people know where the universe is going, you've established the universe. I don't think James Gunn is going to be fearful at all of giving us a taste of what this movie is going to show us, because you realize that, you know, this is not a one and done thing. So everyone's like, it's weird. People are going, well, Superman's not going to be profitable. I'm like, guys, wait till the midweek. It's 4 days. It's been 4 days since it's out. And now you've got, I mean, you might see another 100 million put onto its first weekend totals by the end of next weekend, which would be a great result. So this is really exciting. And I think next week, you know, the fact that James Gunn's going to promote whatever the Supergirl stuff is, it's just going to keep the momentum going.
Oh,
and then you've got Peacemaker season 2 coming. I mean, there's a lot of really interesting stuff. So Peacemaker season 2, Supergirl, Lanterns. You've got the animated series coming out. Is it, what is it? Not Brave and the Bold, but the Robin miniseries or whatever. That's coming out. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. I mean, I'm excited for this, John.
By the way, I wanted, because we were talking about Woman of Tomorrow it gets violent and it gets brutal. Somebody in the live chat said this. I did not notice it, and I've just zoomed it in now. Bring up my screen here. There's blood on her hands.
I think it's paint because she painted out the out. It's the same
Oh,
color.
you know what? You are probably right,
Yep.
but I wouldn't be surprised if it was blood.
It could be.
But you're right. It's because you're right. If we go down, she just painted that.
And by the way, she used paint when she could have used her X-ray vision, her heat vision.
Yep.
She could have burned it, but she painted it instead because that's the kind of girl she is.
By the way, I haven't done a comparison. I should have before I started the show. I have not done it, so I could be totally wrong. But this is just me guessing, okay? Tell me this jacket. Bring this up again. Is that... No, you know what? No, I take it back. I was going to say, that kind of reminds me of Yondu's jacket in the one poster.
Cool. I think she's
you know,
wearing that jacket in the
It's-
at the end of Superman.
Is she wearing that when
In
she
the
comes
movie.
in?
Yeah.
Oh, you might be right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I take it back though. Now that I'm thinking about it more, no, I don't think that's Yondu's jacket. But
I just like the fact that she probably went out and bought a spray can of red paint to do that because she's a rebel, man. And you know what? If you think about how good David Cornsweet was as Superman, Millie Alcott's got to kill it. as
She's gonna kill
Supergirl.
it.
She's gonna kill it.
She's gonna kill. She is. Listen, like she was so good in House of the Dragon that when they time jumped, and they had to, and when you did, you had to change the actress. People were saying, just keep her. I don't care. Age her up. Like, remember that? Like when they had to do the time jump and they brought in the new actor, who was also fabulous, by the way. But like everybody was saying, just keep Millie Alcock. Like she's so good in this. And by the way, she was just in that new, I don't know if it's a movie or series that she's in with Academy Award winning actress. She was in Boogie Nights. She's in like
Julianne Moore.
She's just in that series with Julianne Moore. I can't remember the name of it.
Sirens.
That's it. I watched like a half hour of it
I
because
haven't
Dan was
seen it
watching it. Millie Alcock's not a one-hit wonder.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like John Heater was after Napoleon Dynamite. Like, turns out that he was a one-hit wonder. She's no one-hit wonder, man. She's an incredible actress.
I'll bet.
And
I'll bet.
I cannot wait to see her do this.
I can't either.
Oh, I'm surprised it doesn't say bitch under look out. Look out, bitch. I mean,
Well, it's it's an ad.
see, I'm bummed out now that you pointed out the red spray paint because I got excited when I thought that was blood on her hands. I'm like, oh my God. Okay.
By the way, I love that outfit.
Oh, the outfit's great.
And I really love the fact that they went with the Kingdom Come S. I don't know why. Especially on her, it's even better.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about the first official promo image for Supergirl? And what do you think about our theory? And I'm sure a lot of people have this theory that with James Gunn coming to San Diego Comic-Con and them releasing a promo image, we may be getting our first kind of teaser look at it next week at Comic-Con. Whatever you guys think about all this, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, it's good to be DC right now because they had Matt Reeves as the Batman, which was awesome. They had the Penguin, which is going to win a whole bunch of Emmys. It's already won a ton of awards. It's like, I think the greatest single, all due respect to Daredevil, all due respect to The Boys. I think that Penguin thing was the single best season of comic book television ever. And now they've put out Superman with, again, like an 83% critic rating, 93% audience rating, A- cinema score, all this kind of stuff. Doing pretty good. The question is, what's happening with that Matt Reeves side of things? Big questions still abound about, is there going to be a Penguin season 2? I mean, we just saw at the Emmys, all of its nominations is under limited series, but they're still talking about maybe doing a season 2. And then what's the role going to be in Batman 2? Well, Colin Farrell was recently doing an interview, and he shed a little bit of light on not only the status of the Batman 2 and the Penguin, but for the first time ever actually drops the Batman 3. This comes to us from the folks at Screen Rant. Colin Farrell says, there is literally not, talking about season 2, If there was, and I was told to lie to you, I'd probably have to lie to you. But genuinely, no. Because the show went well, of course, there's been rumblings about, would you do a second season? What would that look like? There's absolutely nothing in process. Like, other than we know the showrunner talked about, said they're developing ideas to see if they want to do season 2. But other than that, there's nothing in process. He goes on to say, there's Batman 2, which I haven't read the script for yet. And then there's Batman 3. What? I don't know if I'm in them or what's happening, but hopefully I'll read Batman 2 soon. Well,
I mean, if he's reading, he's in it.
Of course, Colin knows he's in the Batman 2, but maybe he's saying he doesn't know he's in Batman 3. But this is the first time we've heard anybody from Matt Reeves, James Gunn, anybody, Colin Farrell, that has dropped and mentioned Batman 3. So I have a couple of thoughts. Number one, I vehemently believed that we were absolutely going to get a Penguin season 2. Just when you have that kind of excellence and you have this kind of awards winning success, of course you do it. I now am doing a 180 on that. I think I was wrong. The more I'm hearing them talk about it, the more I'm starting to think, nope, they're going to just let it be. That was great. They're going to say thank you very much and move on and probably continue using Oz in the movies. But I'm now starting to think maybe we're not going to get a season 2, especially with the fact that they did not pull it out of the category of limited series for the Emmys. So I'm now actually starting to believe that, yeah, I think we would have had more movement on it by now if we were going to get a season 2. The second big thing that stands out to me is, of course, the mentioning of Batman 3. And here's a theory, and it's strictly a theory. This is me pulling this out of my ass, not based on any insider information. All of us have been asking for a long time, what the hell is the holdup with the Batman 2? I mean, Matt Reeves works slow. We know that. But, I mean, even for Matt Reeves, like just getting a script done, come on. Where is this Batman 2? I wonder if part of the thing, and again, this is pure speculation on my part, if part of the delay in getting that wrapped up, if that wasn't because he was also developing Batman 3 at the same time, and making sure everything that happens in Batman 2 is going to fit in with his outline for Batman 3. Because for Colin Farrell just come out now and say, oh, of course, there's Batman 3, and blah, blah, it just makes me wonder if the reason it took so long is because not only did he have to make sure it was perfect, but he also had to make sure it was going to fit in smooth and seamlessly with the Batman 3 outline that he probably already has. So again, that's just me speculating, Rob. But anyway, you heard Colin Farrell's statement. He mentions a bunch of things. What are the things that stand out to you the most?
Well, if the script was called Batman 2, why blur it?
Oh.
What if it said Batman 2 Part 1?
I would hate that.
I mean, well, no, but
Yeah.
Something like what I mean
Subsection
is,
B.
you know, something like that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they just didn't want to reveal the other writer or something, but just a thought. I think that's a very interesting proposition because it took him a long time to write it. And look, why is it that we wait for like 3 years between these movies? I mean, they've been filming Avengers movies back to back. They filmed Infinity War and Endgame back to back. They are filming Doomsday and Secret Wars back to back.
Yeah.
If you're going to make a Batman, that Batman movie, by the way, was in production. The Batman was in production for quite a while. Now, they did a TV series, a Penguin TV series, 8 episodes, 8 hours. Well, you've got a production team that knows what everybody wants to do. If you've got a great story and you've got why not shoot 2 movies at once? Amortize the costs, especially if they take place in the same city, you know, the same sets. It's not like you're going to different alien planets. And if you've got an epic story, tell the epic story.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Was Matrix not Warner Brothers?
Yeah, they did.
Was.
Yeah.
So it would follow that playbook again. Like you make the first Matrix movie by itself,
And then the better
make
sequels.
sure it works, and the better sequel, and then okay, we know this works. Boom, boom, back to back. It would, because now they've done the first one, right? They've got the proof of concept. People loved the Batman. It was great. It made money. They would probably be, again, remember, I want to reemphasize, we're speculating here, but I think for them, it would be the chain can come off now. We know this works. Let's be cost effective and let's just shoot them back to back.
And the thing is, the Penguin gives them the paradigm. The Penguin shows that they can make a TV series that looks like a feature film, and how they made it. They made it very, I mean, you know, when you're making prestige television, it's not very different from making a movie. And I would think, look, we're totally speculating here, completely off the reservation, but this is true. I mean, I think it could be very cost effective. And then, you know, you're in post-production on the second movie that you shot for another year, and you space them out a year at a time, but you've already spent the money. You've already amortized your costs across 2 films. I think that's the way to do these things. And the key is, like James Gunn has always said, if the scripts are good.
Yeah.
And maybe they took that extra time to make sure both scripts were airtight and solid, because the argument against it is Matrix Reloaded and Matrix Revolutions. Not quite the greatest we'd hoped.
Although I liked Reloaded.
I did too.
But here's the thing, though. If they are just doing Batman 2, and he's not already been developing Batman 3, we may not get Batman 3 till 2031.
Of course.
Or 2032. Or 2041. At the rate that Matt Reeves goes. But again, we're all just speculating.
But remember, the Matrix movies are only released 6 months apart.
Yes, they were. Yep.
Reloaded and Revolutions.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, Colin Farrell's dropped a couple things. Number one, he said there's been no big process on Penguin season 2. I'm starting to doubt that that's going to happen. He's saying he's going to read the Batman 2 script soon, but then all of a sudden out of nowhere, he just drops Batman 3. Do you think there's some relevance to that? Or do you think that's just him looking down the line? Whatever you guys think about this, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know what? Few shows, there have been just a couple of shows that have like come out of nowhere and become pop culture, like invasive. Squid Game is one of those. But one of the other ones, Stranger Things. This little lowbrow, very unseeming show just kind of came out of nowhere and then all of a sudden exploded with its first season. Everybody talked about it. Saturday Night Live was doing skits about it. And it just became this big thing. And now we are heading into the final season, season 5. And they have now just dropped the trailer. As the Hollywood Reporter saying, Stranger Things season 5, spectacular first trailer released by Netflix. The effects stuff teaser trailer for the final chapter of the streaming smash has been revealed. And I'll tell you what, I don't think the Hollywood Reporter's wrong. This is a great trailer.
Great trailer.
You and I were talking before the show started. I have no idea what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
But I know
doesn't matter.
But my eyes were glued to it. This looks great. Listen, I am one of these guys. Look, I'm not going to pretend that I'm the biggest Stranger Things fan in the world, but I have very much enjoyed every single season. Now, what is the one that most people kind of poo-poo on? Season 3?
Season 2, I think.
2? 3?
It was whichever one where she runs away.
Yeah, where she runs away. I even like that season. I
just didn't like that part. That portion.
But I even like that season.
That was like a backdoor pilot for a new series.
It kind of was. Yeah. It never went anywhere.
They didn't go anywhere.
But I think it's been great. I loved the last season. Of course, I love David Harbour even more now after Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
And this was bonkers. But I'll tell you what, this trailer felt different than any of the other season's trailers at all. This one is...
It's the return of the king of Stranger Things.
You know what it feels like to me, Rob? This one and none of the other ones did. The marketing for this one feels like they're marketing a comic book movie. And I don't mean that in a bad way.
Yeah.
I mean, but it is leaning into the action. It is leaning into the, the epic conclusion kind of feel of it. And it's just a little bit different than the way they've marketed all the other ones. However, there's got to be a however, and there is one big however. I cannot help but snicker a little bit when I still see Caleb McLaughlin and Finn Wolfhard riding their bicycles. Ching, bling, bling, bling. Guys, I'm going to hit you with some knowledge that is going to make you feel old today. Finn Finn Wolfhard is 22 years old.
He wouldn't even, hey, listen, that wouldn't even qualify him for 90210 back in the 90s.
And
you got to be at least in your 30s to play a high schooler.
And in the 80s, by the way, you know, everyone got their driver's licenses at 16. Yep. Everyone.
Yeah, but this is like a military crackdown.
Let me continue here. Gaten Matarazzo, who plays Dustin, the long-haired kid. Yeah, that dude's also 22 years old today. Caleb McLaughlin, who plays Lucas, he's 23. So
maybe they're just environmentally conscious.
Noah Schnapp, who plays Little Will. Little Will. Yeah, he's 20 years old. And of course, Millie Bobby Brown is like on her third divorce already. Well, no, she's not, but she's married. Doesn't she have a kid now?
Yeah, didn't she marry I
know she got married. I can't remember if she actually had a kid. I mean, I'll take that part back.
She married like some rocks. I forget. Rock stars.
She married somebody, whatever.
Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
But she's definitely John Bon Jovi's
son. Yeah.
So Millie Bobby Brown Bon Jovi. So your core 5 kids are now 21, 22, 22, 23, and 20.
It's fine.
Ching, ching, riding my bicycle down
but how old
the
are they?
street.
How old are their characters?
My question is, how old are their kids?
Well,
Like these, if these kids became professional athletes, they're now veterans. They're like 3-year veterans in the NBA at this point.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, if you look at Greece, how old was John Travolta when he played, Danny
but we're going
Zuko?
back 40 years now. You're going
A
back.
hooky from Kaniki is like a Hallmark card.
Like, I look at these kids now, and all I can see is, Damon, what's the guy's name from Boardwalk Empire?
jeez, that's dark.
No, the lead guy.
Not Steve Buscemi.
Buscemi?
I look at these kids now, and all I see is that Steve Buscemi meme of "Hello, fellow kids."
Oh, I thought you were saying like they looked old enough to look like. Okay.
I'm just saying. I look at these kids now, and I just see that.
Yeah. Hello, fellow kids.
Hello, fellow kids. Like that's now. I got to see if I can bring that up. Anyway, that's all I see. Okay, now that aside. The trailer looks spectacular. It really does. Not coming out till October. They're breaking up into 3 pieces now. And there it is. He walks up, music band. And if you've ever seen the clip, he literally walks up to these kids at the lockers acting like, "Hello, fellow kids." It's like one of the funniest things ever. But that's Stranger Things. Anyway, Rob, you had a chance to see the trailer for Stranger Things. What did you think of it?
I love the trailer. I really like this show. Yeah, I understand the iconography, even the
Sorry, Matt Ween said in the live chat, older things.
Older things.
Anyway.
I mean, from using
Elder
the classic
things.
Stephen King hardcover font to all some seasons have been hit and miss, and I still think they don't really know what the Upside Down is. Maybe they'll finally tell us.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, it's awesome, and I don't care. And I thoroughly enjoy this series. I like its heady mix of horror and sci-fi and government conspiracy and psychic kids. And I mean, you know what it is to me? It's kind of like what I wanted the New Mutants movie to be. Like with the Demon Bear storyline and stuff. This movie feels like, if the kids were actually mutants, some of them are, but this feels like the New Mutants extended Bill Sienkiewicz, Chris Claremont run I wanted to see. And that's why I love it. It's like the X-Men movie that we never got.
Man, okay, you know what? New Mutants is always going to have a special place in my heart.
I know why.
Because it was, for those of you who don't know, it was during the pandemic, and all the movie theaters were closed, and I had gone 6 months since I had stepped foot in a movie theater. Longest stretch of my life since in between stepping foot in a movie theater. And then Nevada allowed movie theaters to open, and AMC in Las Vegas opened up. Me and Soul, we got in our car. We drove 4 hours, 3.5, 4 hours to Las Vegas, walked in, watched New Mutants, walked out, got back in our cars, drove 3.5 hours back. And it was glorious. The movie wasn't so good, but it was glorious to be back in the movie theater. So that movie will always have a special place.
Me too. I went and saw it at a faux drive-in at the Rose Bowl.
Oh yeah, I remember they were doing those.
They set up the big screen.
You know what I saw? Ann and I went to the Rose Bowl as well. We went to go see the Tom Hanks space mission.
Mi- uh,
Apollo 13.
Apollo 13. We
Oh,
went to go see
really?
Apollo 13. They showed us that there. So that was sorry, we're getting a little bit sidetracked here. But yeah, they're finally going to finish this thing off. How long has it been since season 4? When did
Couple
season
years.
4 come out? It's been at minimum a couple of years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Has it been 3?
I really liked season 4.
I did too. I thought it
good.
was great.
May
And the-
2022.
And
2022, so we're 3 years.
and the actor, that played the cool
Eddie Munson.
Eddie Munson.
Yep.
That guy's had a
Oh,
great.
now he was in the Quiet Place movie.
Yeah.
He's in Fantastic Four. He's in everything now. He's all over the place.
Where is he? There he is now.
Yep. Eddie Munson, burn in hell. All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think? Have you had a chance to see this Stranger Things trailer? I'm not the biggest fan of Stranger Things in the world, but I really like it. I thought the trailer was great, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing this. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? It was with some great excitement about a year or so ago when they announced that they were going to make a live-action Legend of Zelda movie. And there was some debate about whether they should do it animated or live action. I was firmly in the camp of doing it live action. I think you got to do this thing live action. There have been some rumors that have gone around about who they may cast as what, but now it is official. Variety has reported that they have cast Link and Zelda for the upcoming live-action Legend of Zelda movie. As they write, live-action movie casts Bo Bragison and Benjamin Evan Ainsworth as Zelda and Link. And we get I got to say it, man. That kid looks like Link.
Yeah.
You put the white wig on him.
Yeah.
That kid kind of looks like Link. Anyway, if you don't know who either of these kids are, they're both very experienced. She is an English stage performer, as well as been in some movies and TV shows. Anyway, Variety writes this. English actor Bragison, that's who's going to play Zelda, is known for her roles in the BBC One series Three Girls and The Jetty, as well as Disney Plus's Renegade Nell. I haven't seen any of those. Last year, she starred in Eurolin's vampire comedy, The Radleys. Ainsworth, who is also English, was the voice of Pinocchio in the unfortunate Robert Zemeckis' live-action Pinocchio, and played Miles in the Netflix series The Haunting of Bly Manor.
Wow.
He also stars in the Canadian comedy series Son of a Critch, which is actually really funny. It's not quite as good as Schitt's Creek, but it's pretty damn funny. And appeared in episodes of Netflix's The Sandman. So there you go. They've made it official. That's our Zelda, and that's our Link. Now, again, I cannot recall seeing either of them. Like, I saw Bly Manor, and I can't remember him in it, and I obviously didn't go to the West End to see her on stage. But the fact that, have you noticed a trend more and more? They're getting these younger actors who actually have stage experience.
Well, that's the best way to go.
It is absolutely the best way to go. So, look, the big thing here to me is that progress is happening. They got
Tangibility, Joe.
yeah, it's the tangibilization, if you will. Wes Ball is directing, which I'm very excited about, especially because I loved his Apes movie. I really did. It's not the best of all the Apes movies, but I thought he did a great job with it. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with this. I'm just really excited about it. You know what's funny, Rob? Yesterday or a couple of days ago, we were talking about Peter Jackson and how it's been 11 years since he's directed a theatrical narrative film. And we asked the audience, what would you like to see him? A lot of people wrote in that they'd like to see Peter Jackson direct Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
Which would be pretty badass. But again, I'm very happy with the director they have. Anyway, Rob, here we are. We've now got our Zelda. We've got our Link. What's your first impressions?
I think they're fine choices. I mean, the kid, like you said, looks like Link. And the fact that we have kids that are theatrically trained. I mean, it used to be that actors, when studio contract players, they would have to take singing lessons, they would have to take acting lessons, dancing lessons, they'd have to learn their craft. I think it's great to see younger actors who have a pedigree that are hired to be in these IPs. Because
And by the way, both of them did in England did drama school before even doing all their
yeah,
stuff.
I mean, that they've got the tools, they have the talent to pull these things off. Because remember, these IPs, man, if you think about them, they're gonna go on and they want to make 3 movies, you know, and these kids, they have to hold their own if they don't cast these properly. I mean, that's why I'm excited for Harry Potter. David Cornsweet. I mean, it cracks me up that if you watch Pearl, that you can see Pearl kill David Cornsweet with a pitchfork, you know, and James Gunn saw that and said that guy could be Superman. You have people out there that are now making really interesting casting choices that will pay off in the long run, and that's the way it should be. And I really like that. That's what is happening. You know, I'm a big meritocratist. If you have actors that have put in the time and done the work and bring something to the table already, you're only going to wind up with a good movie. You got to have people that are good rather than just hiring the next pretty face. So I love this.
By the way, I still see the debate online. Even today, I saw the debate still kind of raging online about whether or not they should have indeed started the process of developing a live action film as opposed to animated. The reason I personally still love this idea of doing it live action is I didn't want another version of the Mario Brothers movie.
Right.
Which, and the Mario Brothers movie is a fine movie, but I think with this world of Zelda, you've got some pretty, and I'll use the word epic visual possibilities. And like you go and for the Peter Jackson, you go shoot this thing in New Zealand. You give this thing these broad sweeping landscapes, these giant, amazing creatures. I mean, I just think this done live action, done live well. I think the ceiling for a live action film is higher than if it was an animated film. I think it would be a safer bet to do it as an animated film. And safer is not a bad thing. I think it would absolutely be a safer thing to do it as an animated film. But the animated film can only reach such a height.
Yeah.
I think the potential for it, I mean, sky's the limit for it if they do it well. How are you feeling right now about the whole animated to live action thing?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, it depends though. Like an epic fantasy like this, we've seen what a live action epic fantasy will look like. We've seen Lord of the Rings. Heck, we've seen it in How to Train Your Dragon could look. I think it's much more difficult to take a Super Mario World and move that into live action than it is to move something like Zelda into live action, because if you move Mario into live action, the world that it takes place in there is no live action, something that's analogous to it. The world itself it's always going to remain a very much a fantasy world. Whereas Zelda, you know, you're in a forest, you know, and that's a real location. But if you're going to like show us a live action Mario Kart, where does that where does that, you know, racetrack exist in the real world? So it's a different thing. I mean, I think it's a really interesting balance. Like, I know you're not a fan of Speed Racer. I think the racing in Speed Racer puts a lot of people off because the cars are spinning around and the physics of it, you know, you're not looking at a real race car. And I think that in a way that wasn't, and the way they filmed it with the backgrounds, it's kind of this weird hybridization. They didn't go fully into live action. So I think it's a hard line to follow. You have to make the decision. But I think that Zelda is a perfect, I mean, having How to Train Your Dragon, I would imagine Zelda would have something along those lines. It would feel something along those lines because they retained.
I think that's a good comparison.
Yeah, they retained the look of the dragons. They didn't redesign the dragons from the animated show. They made those dragons work in a live action context, that was their dragons. You know, they didn't make them look like the dragons in the Desolation of Smaug, for instance. Right. And if they had done that, that would have been a betrayal of How to Train Your Dragon. So I think that this could really, as a live action movie, this is the way to go for this, because I want to see that. The video game's already animated. Show me something different.
By the way, I'll say this. You know how I was saying that going animated is the safer route, but your potential is higher for the live action? I will also say this. the potential for it being a disaster is also greater.
Yes.
Like that's why I said it's safer to do animated, because this thing could go really bad really fast, but it could also be much better than expected.
Yes. Yes.
By the way, just a quick side note, because you were mentioning some of the numbers, and How to Train Your Dragon is closing in on $500 or $600 million.
$600 million.
Crazy.
Today, one of the trades has reported that Lilo and Stitch has now become the first film of 2025 to join the $1 billion club.
Woo.
So congratulations to Lilo and Stitch for that. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? We now have our Zelda and we now have our Link. I think they look great, and their resumes are certainly impressive, especially for their ages. How are you liking it? How are you feeling right now about the whole live action versus animation thing? I've always been on the side of live action, but maybe you still think they should have done an animated. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's talk about this, shall we? Fantastic Four. See, I had to cut that off because there's not enough time to sing the whole thing. Because apparently Fantastic Four is going to be one of the absolute shortest movies that Marvel has ever produced.
Shorter than Thunderbolts?
We talked about, is shorter than Thunderbolts, shorter than Superman. We talked a little while ago about some early whispers that came out about Fantastic Four, and it was coming in around the 2-hour mark. Well, now it's official. The British Board of Certification has put it out that Fantastic Four is going to be 114 minutes. That's less than 2 hours. 114 minutes. Now, if you're wondering where that places it, it makes it the 4 out of the 36 movies. This will be the 37th. Out of the 37 at that time movies that Marvel will have produced, only 3 movies they've ever done have been shorter. The Incredible Hulk was 112, Thor: The Dark World was 112, and The Marvels was 105. It is shorter than the 115 minutes Thor. That movie's great. The 115-minute Doctor Strange. That movie is also great. The 117-minute Ant-Man. That movie is also great. Ant-Man and the Wasp at 118 minutes, which I like that one. Thor: Love and Thunder at 119. Captain America: Brave New World was longer. I didn't like that one so much either at 118. But Fantastic Four at 114 minutes. Again, only 3 films they've ever done shorter. And it might have been a little bit longer, but they cut John Malkovich out. So maybe it would have been about 3 or 4 or 5 minutes longer. But now it's one of the shortest. Now look, you know my whole spiel when it comes to the running time of movies. There is no right answer, right? Every movie has a runtime that is perfect for it. Some movies can be 2 hours and feel way too long. Some movies can be about 3 hours and feel too short. I mean, it really all depends on the movie. All we can do is trust that the filmmakers for Fantastic Four, as they're putting the movie together, they just felt this is the right runtime for this movie. For this particular movie, the way it's told, this is the right runtime. Now, this even makes it a little bit shorter than Superman. And I just kind of felt that, like, one of my nitpicks about Superman, one of several, was that it felt like it needed about 10, 15 more minutes to breathe a little bit more. Hopefully I won't feel that same way coming out of Fantastic Four, but apparently their approach for Fantastic Four is lean, mean, all killer, no filler. That seems to be the approach. Let's see if they deliver. Anyway, Rob, you're seeing this 114 minutes. Again, not terribly short for a lot of movies, but again, out of the 37 films, including Fantastic Four, it is one of the absolute shortest ones they've ever done. What's your reaction to hearing this?
Well, I've never thought of runtime as a factor in movies, unless it's something like Return of the King, which you're gonna. I mean, obviously the extended version that's almost 4. It might be over 4 hours long, but for a movie like this, the 2-hour paradigm of motion pictures, 90 minutes to 2 hours, is what most movies in history have kind of fallen into.
Yes,
that paradigm
for decades and decades and decades, that was the standard.
And there's so many great genre movies that I grew up watching. I mean, how long is Back to the Future? You know, and I think that
that's a good question. How long is Back to the Future? I will find that out.
I don't know, but I think The Empire Strikes Back's I think it's 124 minutes. You know, and I don't think that movies need to necessarily be long to be good. Running time is not a factor.
Back to the Future is
Hour and 50.
116 minutes.
So it's 2 minutes longer than
Just 2 minutes longer.
2 minutes longer. And I don't think there's anybody in the world that would ever say that Back to the Future is not one hell of a satisfying afternoon at the movies. So I don't think running time is a factor at all. And remember, if they hadn't cut out Red Ghost, might have been longer. So what they've done is they've made this a tight 2 hours, just shy of 2 hours, which I think is a smart thing to do. This movie doesn't need any fat. This movie just needs to be monumentally entertaining and give us a brand new faction to join the MCU that is going to move forward. I mean, we have to love this family. We've liked what we've seen. There's a new Galactus trailer out. Please tell them no more trailers. I don't want to see anything more because I can't not look at them. And there's a new Galactus trailer out today.
And it's pretty good.
It's pretty good. I'm like,
pretty
okay.
good. Yeah.
I know. And I'm just like, I don't want to watch it anymore. Stop with the trailers. I mean, it's next week, bruh. So I think that I'm excited. I think this movie's going to be really good.
Well, for all we know, because we keep kind of assuming, well, it would have been longer with the Malkovich, but maybe they decided, well, look, this is just like preamble. We could have more character building and keep this by losing this.
You know what? And that's one of the things that the director specifically mentioned, Jonathan, was that like when you're trying to give enough breadth and screen time to characters like your actual Fantastic Four characters, to your Reeds and to your Johnnies and to your Bens and to your Sues, he goes like, we just needed that time, and we wanted to fill it out, and it just became that the Red Ghost part of it wasn't really relevant to the movie anymore, and they decided to take it out. Listen, I'll tell you what, I don't mind the thought. Like when we came out of Superman, right, the first time we saw it, Anne was standing there with us. We're talking about, man, that didn't feel like a 2 hour movie, and Anne looked at me, it's like, that was 2 hours?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. She goes, I thought that was like 90 minutes.
Me too. You and I said that too.
I mean, that's a good thing. Like it
is
feels like it flies. That's a good thing. I mean, I'm hoping I come out of, because I've seen some 2 hour movies that felt like there were 5.
Yeah.
And so hopefully that's what this happens here. Listen, it is funny though, that the trailers, and we talked about this yesterday, but the trailers for Fantastic Four did nothing for me to increase my excitement for it. And it feels like Marvel said, okay, we're cutting out the trailer company that made our trailers. We're just going to start dropping some clips. And that has totally turned me around on this movie.
Yep.
Like I'm now legitimately excited to see this. I was always looking forward to it. Always looking forward to it. It's Fantastic Four. But now the needle is moved. Like now I'm very excited for this. I hope it pays off.
I do
Even if
too.
it pays off quickly.
I mean, look, I think that you know, Hollywood marketing has become lazy and complacent. Each movie is its own thing, and I'm tired. Trailers have become so generic. And you know, I think the last time I saw a trailer that you mentioned the first Guardians trailer with the raising the finger and all.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember seeing that trailer going, this is a little baroque, a little offbeat. I liked it. It made me want to see the film. Superhero trailers have become so boring. I mean, they're all the same structure when they could be. That's why I love that A24 version of Thunderbolts. I'm like,
that trailer was
that
so
was
good.
inspired. That was like, okay, you know, you're telling me something new. You're giving me a new approach. I got excited about it. But you know, these marketing companies, Hollywood it's not going to survive if it follows trends. Hollywood used to set trends. You get rich in Hollywood by setting trends, not by following them. And I want to see more of that, please.
By the way, you remember yesterday we played that little clip of James Gunn in that interview where he blatantly ripped me off, but
sure,
facetious. If you listen to that's just part of a longer clip where he basically says like that, what you're saying here, he goes like, I'm paraphrasing completely, but it's like, we can't just keep doing the same thing.
Right.
Like too many movies are afraid to, he said, I would rather fail trying something different than just stow the average line doing the same thing. And he talked about how he said, I literally got on the phone and I called Margot Robbie the day after I saw Barbie saying, thank you. Cause that was different. Like whatever you thought of the Barbie movie, that was different. Right. He said, I called Matt Reeves the day after I saw the Batman. Cause that was very different. That was unique. He said, that's what we have to start seeing in our movies. We have to start taking bigger swings. We have to start breaking from the normal molds and do these things differently. And Superman certainly did. I hope Supergirl does. And it's kind of looking that maybe Fantastic Four does too. At least I'm hoping.
I mean, look at Sinners box office.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Sinners was, again, kind of a Baroque movie. It's kind of not what you'd expect. Sure, people say it's like From Dusk Till Dawn. That's totally reductive. I mean, and you have filmmakers giving people, that's what movies were all about. Show us something new. The Mavericks of the 70s. You know, when you had people when Milos Forman made One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, or somebody makes Network, you know, you had a lot of really The Godfather. Coppola went from Godfather. He had Godfather and The Conversation come out, or Godfather 2 and Conversation come out the same year. I mean, people used to do really different, interesting things. Bob Fosse making all that jazz. We need these things to keep Hollywood going.
By the way, it's part of the doing things different. I'm kind of getting excited to see that Dave Franco Together.
Yeah, and Alison Brie Together.
His wife. Ooh,
that looks. I can't wait.
That's looking creepy as hell.
And by the way, we forgot. I wanted to bring this up. After The Hunt, Luca Guadagnino's new trailer dropped today that we saw. It's part of that Amazon slate of bangers. That new trailer with Andrew Garfield and Julia Roberts. That looks amazing. That trailer is great.
That one's not going to blow up the box office, but it looks like it's really good.
But it's an Academy Award contender for sure.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? Fantastic Four be, I believe, the 37th film that the MCU has done. But it's going to be like one of the absolute shortest they've ever done. Only 3 have ever been shorter, coming in at 114 minutes. Are you like me, where it's basically, yeah, whatever. Well, let's see how that fits with the movie. Or are you worried about that? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that all down, it's now time for us to move on to the most important part of our show, which is, of course, taking your live comments and questions. But before we do, we will bid good day to writer, director, producer Robert Meyer Burnett. Great job as always, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
And I will talk to you again tomorrow.
Yes, you will.
And now, guys, let's get over and start taking your topics and questions that you guys have been sending in, shall we? Jonathan, what we got up first?
Forgot to pick up the kids. Says, which titular MCU character do you think Marvel fumbled the most? I nominate Hulk, Thor, Ironheart, Captain Marvel, and Sam as Captain America. Phil, you will say Thor is one good movie to negate Love and Thunder. Hulk would never get a solo movie, so that leaves 3.
Well,
I still think they all count.
Here's the thing. It depends on what you mean by drop the ball on. If you mean fumbled, like they just never handled the character right, here's what I would say. They have absolutely handled Thor right. Yeah, they had one thing with Thor, Love and Thunder, but overall, Thor is one of my favorite characters in their MCU. The problem with Captain America, Brave New World wasn't Sam. Like, Sam wasn't the problem. It was just, they put him into a bad movie, and they could have handled him a little bit better, sure, maybe, but he really ultimately wasn't the problem. They literally took a Hulk sequel and dropped him into a Hulk sequel, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think they fumbled Captain Marvel at all. I love the way they've done Captain Marvel. By the way, like one of the billion-dollar films, the first Captain Marvel. The character I think they fumbled is Riri Williams. That was a character that has a lot of potential. And by the way, I don't think the show, Ironheart, ended up being terrible. It has it's got its upside. It definitely does. I still overall wasn't terribly happy with it, but I think that's the one they just, and they dropped the ball on Riri right from Black Panther 2.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately that's the character that they didn't do justice for. And they've made mistakes with some of the other ones, but they made mistakes with some of the other ones that they've already did great. So I think the one I would say that they probably fumbled was Riri Williams. All right, what's next?
We got who says, hey, John, I'm looking to buy 70 millimeter IMAX tickets for the Odyssey when they go on sale. Which movies have you seen in 70 millimeter IMAX? Well,
not a lot.
I saw.
I see Oppenheimer.
As a matter of fact, I did see Oppenheimer. I saw it at the Universal City Walk.
Mm-hmm. I did see Hateful Eight in 70 millimeter.
I did not see that one in 70 millimeter.
Yeah.
You know, I've been about 5 or 6 times. I can't remember which movies I saw though.
I know.
I know Oppenheimer was one of them, but I can't remember the other ones, to be honest. I think Odyssey will probably be one of them. See, one of the big things though to me is IMAX is not my favorite format. I really like it. Don't get me wrong. I really like IMAX, but my favorite format, my first choice is always to go to an AMC Dolby Prime. That's always my first choice. So that's usually where I end up. But I made an exception for Oppenheimer, and I probably will once the Odyssey comes out too. All right, what's next?
Anonymous. Officially reported Fantastic Four First Steps as a runtime of 1 hour and 55 minutes. If Superman felt like it flew by, I just might have to get another ticket for F4 other than just Thursday night.
I mean, yeah, you can see it twice.
I know.
You can see it twice in the amount of time it would take you to watch one Lord of the Rings extended version film.
I think you and I are seeing it near the same time. I'm seeing it 5 o'clock, 5:15 on Thursday.
I actually cannot remember. Let me open up my trusty AMC app, because again, I don't know. You know, it's funny. This is the first weekend in a while I'm not going to any movies. Other than maybe to see Superman again, because I'm clearly not planning on watching Smurfs.
I still haven't seen F1, so I'm going to try to catch that.
Oh, you will really like F1. Okay, when I'm seeing it 2 p.m. on Thursday.
Okay, so you're
so
ways
not
ahead
tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow.
Yeah,
2 p.m. on Thursday is when I'm going to see it. So very excited.
All right.
What's next?
Anonymous, funny thought for Peacemaker. It's a Deadpool Wolverine type situation where, for whatever reason, the DCU gets actually destroyed somehow, and I could see Gunn having Vigilante go, "Holy shit, it's gone." Peacemaker looks at the camera, and it's never coming back. Has he ever broke the fourth wall? But that would be funny.
And it's never coming back. Listen. I wish that would happen.
It feels very Ryan Reynolds, though, and not James Gunn.
It would be such a thumb in the ass of so many people. I would love it if he did that, but he won't do that.
Yeah.
No, he ain't going to do that. But yeah, we said that ourselves on the show yesterday, right? It's kind of got a little bit of a Deadpool and Wolverine feel.
Yeah.
And again, it was just a theory of ours from and other people. It's not just me. That this is going to explain how Peacemaker moves from the old DCEU into the new DCU. But that might not have anything to do with it, but we will see.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right, we got Anonymous 2-parter. Hey, wonderful people. I don't know if you have addressed this already, but apparently Amazon's top picks for potentially playing the new James Bond includes Jacob Elordi, Tom Holland, and Harris Dickinson. They wanted British actors under the age of 30. I personally don't see Tom Holland playing Bond, and not really Elordi either, but Harris Dickinson I absolutely could see playing Bond.
Well, yeah, we literally talked. We did a topic of this like weeks ago, actually, like literally weeks ago. We talked about this.
I think Dickinson was in Triangle of Sadness.
Listen, I'll still say this. I really, really like Tom Holland. I think he's a very good actor. Would he be my pick to play Bond? No. But talent trumps everything. He is now a ripped beast. Like, he's muscular and look, he's incredibly athletic because of his dance background. He can do action probably better than any Bond we've ever had. I mean, that's just a fact. As a performer, he could probably do more stuff physically than any other Bond ever has. He is a terrific actor. So again, would he be my choice? No. But if they announce tomorrow that Tom Holland, a great actor who could physically pull this off no problem, was going to be Bond, I would be okay with it. My pick? No. But I would be totally okay with it because they're going with somebody who's extremely talented. Elordi is a guy who fits it better than I think fits better. I think he would do well. But by the way, like, that report doesn't say they're done. That doesn't say it's going to be one of those three. As it happens 9 times out of 10, it's probably going to end up being somebody that none of us have talked about.
Yeah.
That's usually how these things work out, but we'll see. All right, what's next?
Dookie Shoe says, hey guys, just to clarify my Carl Urban comment yesterday, I was referring to the projects he chooses to be in. I'm guessing the pitch for Mortal Kombat 2 must have been quite good for him to be on board. I'm really hoping this movie is awesome.
I hope it's great.
Look, I used to think the same thing about Michael Fassbender, and
oh my God.
You just can't always tell by reading a script.
Has there ever been a career that was so hot that in the span of like 3 years just ran into a wall.
I don't know what happened. I'm glad Black Bag was really good. He's a fantastic actor, but
Yeah, but nobody saw Black Bag.
I know.
Right? Which is too bad. Because he was a could do no wrong. What was
No.
that one he did? Shame.
Yeah.
That was so he literally was flying high, could do no wrong.
And his bit, basically it was a little more than a cameo, but in Inglourious Bastards is like, dude, some of my favorite scene.
And then came along Oceans, the Light Between Oceans or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
And The Snowman,
Yeah.
which was horrible.
And then he did
And
like
his,
Next Goal Wins or First Goal Wins or something like that. And
and then long before that, he had his the video game movie, Assassin's Creed.
yes.
Which was terrible. And just, all of a sudden, he was gone. Now, thankfully, he's coming back. And
Yeah.
you're right, Black Bag is great. So, because he's such a good actor. Anyway. All right, what's next?
The War Chief, Spider-Man 4 and The Odyssey both open in the same month. Both movies have John Bernthal, Zendaya, and Tom Holland.
I didn't even think about that.
Which movie makes more either way? Big payday for those 3 actors. I'm still going to go with Spider-Man.
There's no doubt it's
Yeah.
Spider-Man. No doubt it's Spider-Man. Because, Odyssey has the potential to be a billion-dollar film.
Yes. Spider-Man
has the potential to be a $2 billion film.
Right.
Again, not saying it will be.
Sure.
We're just saying it carries the potential to be a $2 billion film. Whereas Odyssey carries the potential to be a $1 billion film. So, yeah, 100% it's definitely going to be Spider-Man. I mean, again, look, you never know what'll happen. Maybe Spider-Man is the worst film ever made. Word of mouth gets out, and sure. But I'm just saying, all other things being equal, the movie that'll make more money out of those two is Spider-Man 4.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Quirky J. Hi, John. Following up from my last message, my girlfriend went to see Superman and also saw the Universal logo play before the DC logo. Perhaps an error in the projection related to a trailer. Confusing. Love your show.
Well, here's the interest. So somebody, they wrote in the other day, for those who don't know, saying they saw the Universal logo in Australia. I thought, well, it's not uncommon for a big major studio to have other distributors carry the movie in some foreign markets. Now, we then went and looked it up on IMDb Pro, and it said that the Australian distributor was still Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
But I had a couple, after the show yesterday, I had a couple of other people write to me from Australia saying, yeah, John, I'm in Australia, and I saw the Universal thing too. So either there's a mistake in the company credits, which is possible, or like you're saying, it was a real mistake. Maybe they made a mistake with the reels. But then again, we don't live in an age where they use physical reels anymore.
I'm wondering if maybe there's an international deal that Universal has distribution rights on a character that appears in the movie or something like that.
I don't know. But again, then that should also then appear in North America.
I'm just thinking if it's internationally, but yeah. You're right. I don't
Maybe.
know.
Again, I just thought it was really weird that they weren't listed on the company credits. But so that's a really interesting thing. I haven't really dug into it, but I'm going to at some point here because that's a very fascinating issue. All right, what's next?
We got Ryan. Hey, John, little hypothetical. If Superman was an MCU movie, where would it rank for you on that spectrum?
Ooh. I really don't know. I mean, okay, so let's run through the ones that would come before it. Civil War would come before it. Winter Soldier would come before it. The original Avengers, which I still think is the best comic book movie ever made, would come before it. I don't know. I don't know that it would be in the top 5. Now, we're talking about it had 37 movies. I think it would probably be in my top 10 somewhere of Marvel films. Yeah, I'll say that. I feel safe saying that. I feel safe saying this Superman movie would fall probably somewhere in the top 10 of the 37-ish Marvel movies. That's what I'll say for now. Again, I haven't sat down and actually charted it out, but just off the top of my head, I'll say somewhere in the top 10. All right, what's next?
We may be in an incursion because I asked AI and it says that it does not run Universal in front of it. So what I'm thinking is there's 2 parallel universes going on where people are seeing it and other people are not seeing it.
Well, yeah. Well, again, I've had.
No, there's a real
people,
reason why it's there. I'm just
I've
joking.
had multiple people write to me and say
Yeah.
they've seen it, so it's kind of a weird thing.
I'm gonna get a hold of James Gunn and ask him. Quirky J says, "Hey John, I'm understanding that James Gunn's Suicide Squad was part of the DCEU, but because Peacemaker is a direct follow-up to the movie, and that there's little connection to the older or the other DCEU films, could you watch it with the same timeline of the DCU?"
I'm not really sure I follow the question.
Well, does the first Peacemaker follow in line with the moving forward in the DCU with James Gunn, the season 1? Could you watch season 1? I think that'll be explained in season 2.
Like, for me, like I've always said this. All you have to retcon out of season 1 is that one funny shot where the Justice League shows up, where you don't even see their faces except for Aquaman and Flash. Right. Retcon that one scene, and there's nothing in that entire season that says that couldn't be totally in James Gunn's DCU. It would totally fit. The Suicide Squad is a different thing. So it's going to be interesting to see how they navigate that. You know, somebody asked me a good, interesting question. If they do say that Peacemaker comes from a different universe, that he comes from the DCU universe and now he's coming into the DCU. One of our viewers wrote in an interesting question yesterday. They asked, do you think in this DCU, the new DCU, that Peacemaker killed Rick Flagg's son like he did in the DCEU? That's a very good question. I think they might address that.
Yeah, he could be off, but I remember Frank Grillo was in an interview and they asked him about that, and he said that should be addressed in season 2.
Yeah.
So,
all right, what's next?
YN Draco, do you think Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom will be teased in Fantastic Four post-credit? It's the last movie before Doomsday, so I could see it being a possibility.
Possibility? It's 100% is a possibility. Yeah. I still don't think they will. Now, there were reports that came out that there was a little bit of a tease, like you don't see them, but that there was a tease of it. That's possible. That was also possible that I'm kind of leaning that might have been a misdirect. So I'm not expecting it, but it is possible. Look, the reality, you don't need to tease a villain before you introduce the villain. All right, you just don't. Star Wars didn't need a first movie to come out first to tease Darth Vader before you introduce him at the beginning of Star Wars. You know, you don't need that. Like, I've had some people say to me, like in this discussion over the past year or so, saying, but you have to tease Doctor Doom before Doomsday. No, you don't. Never in cinematic history have you just can introduce the villain in the movie. You can just do that. But it is very possible that they will. I mean, not just because he's the big bad of Doomsday, but because he is a quintessential Fantastic Four character.
Yeah.
So I'm not expecting it, but I do think it's very possible.
Okay, quick update. I just found this information on Australia. So you may have seen the Universal Pictures logo precede Superman movie in Australia because Universal's Australian branch handles the distribution of Warner Brothers films, including Superman movies in Australia and New Zealand. Historically, Roadshow Films distributed Warner Brothers films in Australia and New Zealand for several decades. However, Warner Brothers ended the distribution arrangement with Roadshow Films at the end of 2020, and Universal took over from January 1st, 2021.
All right, so it was, as we said, it was just an error in the listing. Because they still have Warner Brothers International as the distributor in Australia, so clearly that was a mistake. Well done, Jonathan.
Hey, I'm a man of many talents.
That's why we used to call you Fact Checker Jonathan.
That's true.
All right, what's next?
Quirky J, final question. What's one belief you used to hold strongly about movies or the industry that you've completely changed your mind about, and what made you change it? Boy, that's a deep one. A strong belief that you...
I don't know. I would have to think about that.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I don't know that there's any, like, if we're talking just about the industry in general, I don't know that there is anything that I've like held really firmly that I don't think anymore. If we're talking just as the industry as a whole, I just can't think of one.
Yeah, it's not like we've been all of a sudden like, you know what? More trailers in movie theaters are better.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I can't really think of anything. Like, if you could ask, I don't know, if I was presented with some specific scenarios, maybe I could think of something, but just in general, flat, like, I mean, it's a very interesting question, but I can't think of something off the top of my head that I've completely done a 180 on. Like as far as the industry, I can think of a couple of individual movies, but like not the industry as a whole. It's an interesting question though. All right, what's next?
We got Chris Douglas. Could an interesting Elseworld story be Superman, but his appearance resembles a black human male and he arrives in 1930? Every other aspect of the character is equal, including the Kents. Would he still be embraced as a hero? Cast Michael B. Jordan. Wink.
Well,
I think you could absolutely do that.
There was talks of Michael B. Jordan doing a Superman movie, but it was, I forget but it literally was a Clark from another, it's from another Earth, like Earth 17B1 or whatever it was. And instead of his name being Kal-El, it was, I forget, but it's actually already in the comics. It's actually already in the comics.
Clark of Earth 23.
And his name was Calvin Ellis.
Ah.
And so they've already done that. Now, if you have him showing up in the 1930s, that creates obviously a big racial thing then.
Yeah.
But that some people would like to see us return to.
Or just say it never happened.
Or just pretend it didn't happen. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, Superman Elseworlds, look, I always used to be excited about Superman Elseworld kind of stories, but I'm not anymore because they've done them. Right? We've had lots of Superman Elseworld stories. I mean, and even if all we had was one, Red Sun, that's it. We don't need any more. Red Sun was it. To some degree, Brightburn was kind of a Superman Elseworld story too.
Yeah.
In many ways, an unofficial Superman Elseworld story. So I don't really feel like we need Superman Elseworld stories anymore. Oh, and by the way, then we also had the recent granddaddy of them all. I mean, Red Sun is the granddaddy of them all. But then we had Injustice: Gods Among Us.
Right. Yeah.
Which was a great one. So I just feel like I'm Superman Elseworld storied out at this point. Because I've had great ones and now I feel like we're done.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
JJ, what's up, John? I love Peacemaker. He was the best thing to come out of the DCEU. Saw the trailer for season 2 on TikTok. I'm a little mixed because I'm excited for more Peacemaker, but I'm so tired of multiverse stuff. Is this for the whole DCU or just Peacemaker?
Well, if they are dealing with multiverse stuff, it seems like it's not introducing it for the DCU as a whole. It seems like it's introducing it as an avenue of getting Peacemaker from the DCEU into the DCU.
And that's done, yeah.
And then hopefully it's done. Because I think like James Gunn, if you listen to recent interviews by James Gunn, I don't think he's looking at delving a lot into multiverse stuff. Like that's all Marvel and DC did for the last number of years. And I'm sick of it. I'm not saying there aren't good stories to be told. I'm just saying in general, I'm just so sick of it and over it. So I don't think you're going to see James Gunn go down that road with the DCU as a whole. I mean, all right, what's next?
Jake Alble's a $20 tip. Good,
Thank you, Jake.
Good Canadian kid here. I'm a little late to this topic, but I'd like to see Ryan Coogler direct a Constantine movie with Michael J. as Lucifer. He's charismatic and buff. Also did Anne like my Halloween costume idea for the movie? It was Guy Gardner, and was she going to be Hawk Girl, or what was it?
I can't remember.
Guy
now.
Gardner and someone else. Dang it.
Guy Gardner and Hawk Girl, that sounds right.
Yeah.
And Anne would love it. You know, I totally forgot to mention it to her. I probably won't mention it to her because I really don't want to give her any more ideas for costumes. I'm not kidding you guys. Every week, all year. Every week, at least once, for the entire calendar year. At some point. You know what we should do for Halloween? And it's a new one. And I think she's already got a list of about 16. So I actually may not mention, even though the Guy Gardner Hawk Girl one is a great idea, I may not mention it to her. Yeah. So sorry, I forgot now. What was the question?
Oh, JJ, hang on, let me bring it up. It was Constantine being directed by Greg Coogler.
Yeah, whatever.
Aren't they already working on it?
X-actor, X-director do an X movie. Look, Ryan Coogler's a great director. Name any potential movie, I'd say he'd do a good job because he's super talented. And Michael B. Jordan because he's super great. I really don't care about Constantine, to be honest with you. Never have. But I mean, yeah, you name any movie with Ryan Coogler as a possible director. That's a good idea because he's a great director.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
SB the Barber, excuse me. So I get this, that the Superman movie doesn't have to make that much money, but the more money it makes means more people watched it. Just wondering how that works. Does it become word of mouth for future success if people didn't watch it for themselves?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm gonna segment this out from my video last night, and I'm gonna put it up, and I'm gonna title it something along those like why I've been saying for 2 solid years why Superman wasn't going to make a ton of money and why it doesn't need to make a ton of money. So I'm gonna put that video up later. But the basic thing is this: it's the same. That one of our viewers gave us a perfect analogy. You compare it to Batman, right? The Batman movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger killed not just the franchise, it killed the whole comic book genre for a couple of years. Nobody wanted to touch a comic book movie for a couple of years. And so now fast forward many years later, Warner Brothers knew, listen, we got Batman, man. We got to get the franchise going again. So what they did was they made Batman Begins with Christopher Nolan and Christian Bale. That movie did not make a ton of money. It did okay. But it made like a little over, it made just over $300 million, between 300 and 400. So it's in the 300 millions, which is fine. It's fine. It was not a flop, but not many people went to go see it, but everybody who did see it loved it. And Warner Brothers was okay, same company, was okay that it didn't make a ton of money, because they knew if we want a thriving Batman IP, you know what we got to do first? We got to win the audience back. So they put out Batman Begins, didn't make world-shattering money, but it won the audience back. It healed the image of Batman. It rehabilitated the image of Batman. It undid the damage that had been done to the franchise. And it got people excited about Batman again. So even though the first one didn't make all that much money, they made The Dark Knight, and that one made $1 billion. I have been telling people for years, number one, don't expect Superman to make a whole ton of money because of all the damage and baggage that's coming along with it. And number two, it doesn't need to make all that much money. And Warner Brothers knows that, and James Gunn knows that. I've been saying that for years. And everybody's, no, John, you're wrong. No, it's often lonely being right. So the key thing here is that everybody who's seeing it, again, 93% audience rating, 83% critic rating, A- cinema score, everybody who is seeing it loves it. Obviously not literally everybody, no movie does, but I mean, just figuratively speaking, just about everybody who's seeing it's loving it. And that's the key. So even when Superman leaves theaters, the residue remains. Everybody's talking about how great it was, how wonderful it was. Then it's going to hit streaming on Max, and it's going to do great on Max. And then they'll do the next film, and it'll do even better. And that's been their strategy this whole time. I've been telling you for years that's what their strategy is. And it's going to be a complete repeat of what they did with Batman. The IP got ran into the ground. They did triage on it and fixed the reputation with the first movie that didn't make a ton of money so that the future movies could make a ton of money. That's exactly what I've been telling you their strategy with this Superman has been for a couple of years now. And that's exactly what they're doing. And it's already mission accomplished. They could pull this movie out of theaters tomorrow and it's mission accomplished. So anyway, all right, what's next?
The Black Knight says, having seen Superman, I guess this kind of universe can have a 12-year-old Robin running around with bats. I'm looking forward to it.
No way. I really don't think they're going to do that. They're not going to make this kick-ass and make it spoof. And I'm totally glad. But we got Brave and the Bold. We're going to get Damian. I don't think they're going to have Damian 12 years old.
Mm.
And I'm okay with that as long as he's not 12.
Mm-hmm.
Make him 15, 16, something like that. I don't think they're going to go that young. I just do not think in something that's not supposed to be a spoofy comedy like Kick-Ass that you can have Batman running around with a 12-year-old
He said he wants to make it serious. And also in an interview, Gunn said these movies are all going to have different tones. A lot of people are like taking the tone of Superman and applying it to all the heroes that are coming out after this. And that's not the way it's going to be.
Yeah. Now, look, let me take one step back. I'll put some asterisks on that. Like, I could see them maybe doing a Damian Wayne 12, but not as Robin and not as running around fighting crime as a 12-year-old child with a stick. I don't see them doing that. So maybe they have him and he's just dealing with being a father, and maybe in years later he becomes, but in general, I just don't think we're going to get a 12-year-old Robin. Nor should we. I think that would be a terrible mistake for them to do. And I don't think James Gunn's going to do it. All right, what's next?
All right, well, we covered this, but Dan the fan says, hey, John, they announced the lead actors for Zelda today. Although they weren't my first choices, Anya Taylor-Joy for Zelda and Hunter Schafer
Little old.
older. I wish them all the best, and hopefully they can pull it off because I'm a huge fan of the franchise.
Yeah, again, listen, when the first thing I want to look at is what's their background. Both of them went to drama school. The girl has done stage. The kid, the guy playing Link, the young guy, he's got an impressive resume already. I mean, so I'm looking at that, and that is like, that's the resume you want to see. Now, sure, Anya Taylor-Joy, let me see if I can bring this up. Anya Taylor-Joy is turning 30 years old. So I mean, I love Anya Taylor-Joy. Love her. She can't be Zelda. Not at almost 30. So I'm really good with who they got. Again, I didn't really know them, but when I'm looking at their resumes and their experience and their backgrounds, I'm like, yeah, sign me up. This looks good.
She'd be perfect for West Beverly High and 90210 though.
Yeah, she would.
All
right, what's
Raj
next?
says, hi, John. I watched Superman here in Sydney, Australia, and can confirm here we're seeing Universal logos as the movie starts. For a few moments, I thought I mistakenly walked into JW Rebirths, but then saw the DC logo. Phew, by the way, love the movie.
Well, thankfully to fact checker Jonathan, he dug it up. He found out the answer to that because Universal is indeed distributing Warner Brothers films in Australia and New Zealand.
Yep.
All right, what's next?
Okay, we got The Black Knight. Me and my brother have a 50-pound bet at if Aquaman will be blonde in Gunn's universe. Where would you put your money? I think he will be.
I agree.
I think he's going to go as comic book accurate as he
Yeah,
can.
I think he will go that way. I think we're going to get a blonde Aquaman. Now, look, I, for one, don't think it needs to be blonde. Like, okay, yeah, in the comics he is. That's great, but it's not important to the character if his hair is blonde or not. But I think James Gunn will go that way. So I am with you on that. I would be on your side of the bet. All right, what's next?
Clayton Yunkin, this or that, Superman's March, so John Williams, or what are you going to do when you're not saving the world, Hans Zimmer?
I love them both so much. There's actually a great YouTube video that literally took the two pieces of music and merged them together.
Oh, I've heard that.
And it's quite good, actually.
I mean, one is classic, but I just like the Hans Zimmer one more. I'm just going to say it.
Let me put it this way. In the movie, I'll take the John Williams hit. Bum, 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 bum. Driving in my car, what are you going to do when you're not saving the world? And like when I still, at least once a week, guys, when I hop in the shower in the mornings, I go, hey, Google, play What Are You Going to Do When You're Not Saving the World by Hans Zimmer. And cause that music, I like when I get in my shower in the mornings, I like to play music that gets me hyped up and ready to do the show. And that music does it, man. So in movie, John Williams, outside of movie, the Hans Zimmer one. All right, what's next?
DJ says, WB have put a reel on YouTube of Guy Gardner explaining Clark's glasses. So by Campea Law, this is not a spoiler. This was a brilliant this is brilliant what they did with the glasses.
Oh, did Warner Brothers put out a
I think
a clip of it? Well, then
yeah.
it's not a spoiler anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know about the hypno glasses.
We were just talking about that today.
I love that line. So it's not even the line itself. She goes, it's not about whether I know about it. It's that you shouldn't be telling me in case I didn't know about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And he just goes on anyway, and Steve just blows through it.
Oh my God. So you know he's Clark Kent. I'm glad they put that clip out. I mean, this has kind of been a normal thing for movies in general the last few years. If you've noticed that after a movie's opened and finished its opening weekend, the studios start dropping more and more stuff online for it. So that's kind of a standard thing becoming. All right, what's next?
Anonymous. Obviously, the Dark Knight trilogy is made with the intent of what if this was real life or our real life. Do you also apply that to the Batman, or would you say it's more comic bookness to it? While it's grounded, I don't classify them this 1-to-1. I believe it's a step away from that, but it's not Gunn's universe of.
See, yeah, okay, the thing about the Batman is that it's definitely set real world, but whereas a lot of comic book movies will kind of be real world, but lean in towards the fantastical.
Yeah.
What Matt Reeves' The Batman did was went real world, only went more grim, more dark, and more grounded.
Yeah.
So like it actually moves away from the traditional comic bookiness of it and move towards the darker comic book stuff that's even grittier, more grounded and more dark. So it actually moved even further away from the fantastical.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Dad jokes. John, do me a favor and do a side-by-side pick of Mason Thames from How to Train Your Dragon and a younger Steve Martin. Tell me this kid isn't Martin's doppelganger and couldn't play him in a biopic. They do look a little bit. I've seen young images, like when he was like a teenager.
We're talking about the kid who plays Hiccup?
Yeah, of Steve Martin. When he was I'll see if I can bring up one, but I don't know if I have time.
By the way, just side note, I just know somebody in the live chat saying, isn't it amazing what Michael Mizrachi is doing in the World Series Poker? For those of you who don't know, today's the final. It's day 10 or 11 today. They're down to the final 4 in the World Series of Poker. And there's a guy I've been watching for years. The Grinder, they called him. Michael Mizrachi. And they were down to like the final 3 tables. And he was down to like air. He was literally down to air. He had like 1.3 million in chips left when the average person had like 50 point something, and he was all in for his tournament life. And then won it and got like 3 million chips. I went away, came back 4 hours later. He had 71 million chips again. And then at the end of day 1 of the final 9, he like had more chips than the rest of the table combined. And now they're down to the he's going to win the World Series of Poker. I mean, if he doesn't, it's going to be an epic collapse because he like had 300 and something million in chips. And the next closest guy had like 70 million and there was only 4 left. So it is incredible. I've been watching The Grinder for years, man. It's incredible to see him make this run. Anyway. Okay.
Yeah, I could see that.
What's
a little
next?
Bit. We got,
By the way, I'm sorry. Go back to it's like, I don't think I actually answered the question. What was the question?
So they could look like, so this is young Steve Martin. And this is the actor from How to Train Your Dragon. I could kind of see it. I'll tell you what. I saw this picture of, he could have been a runner-up for Han Solo at that age.
That could have been Han Solo.
Man.
Do you remember who the runner-up for Han Solo was?
No, I do not.
It was Kurt Russell.
Wow. Oh, yes, I've seen his
his screen test.
Yes.
Yeah, he was the runner-up for a young Kurt Russell was the runner-up to play Han Solo. How differently would history have been if Kurt Russell had been Han Solo?
Yeah, Kurt Russell. And
sorry, let's get back to that question.
So spoiled A-lister. Okay, I know this is going to come off, but how this is going to come off, but with A-list, I didn't want AMC to add more discount nights. When it went last night, and there's a steep decline in both service management sucks, no workers, and etiquette. Way more people there who aren't watching the movie. Well, they must be watching the movie if there's way more people there. But
you can't get into the movies if you're not there to watch the movie.
Well, I understand that, but it's good for the business, and if you want the business to remain, they've got to do things like that. Now that's a management issue. They should have had people there.
Yeah, I mean that's a management issue of your one theater. Like I've been to our local AMC when they've had the discount nights, and I haven't noticed any drop in service or anything like that. So I would seriously listen. As long as you're polite, be nice, as they would say in Roadhouse, as Patrick Swayze would say, be nice.
Yeah.
As long as you're polite, absolutely. Ask to speak to an assistant manager or a manager and in a polite way express your concerns and say, listen, I just wanted to put this on your radar that, you know, as somebody who loves coming to the theater, I'm finding that your service on these nights really drops. And it's just concerning to me. And I just wanted to come, and I've got no demands. I'm just coming. I wanted to put that on your radar.
Yeah.
And thank you for the job that you do. Just be nice. These people have to put up with a lot of crap. All right. Don't add to it. All right. What's next?
Mustang Racer. Hi, John. With Comic-Con coming up, I was wondering if you were going to do a Comic-Con live stream. I really enjoyed the show you did last year and was hoping you would do another. Did you do a live stream? We did it for D23, like for
I didn't do a Comic-Con live. Oh, no. You know what it was?
Huh.
They did, I believe they did they not stream the Marvel panel, or am I?
That could have been.
Because I know I definitely live stream. We live streamed the D23 one.
Yeah.
Didn't we do? Isn't that the same night that we watched Abigail?
Yes.
Did we not watch Abigail?
Yeah,
and then
we watched
come in right in here and did the D23
because we had to kill
stream?
time until it was ready to start.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing: Marvel isn't there this year, and I don't think they're going to live stream James Gunn's thing. So I don't know that there's anything to live stream. You know what it was? They did not live stream the Marvel panel. We were doing a panel watch and following all the social media of the people who were in the panel.
Right. There you go.
If there is an event, I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll do it. Let's find out when James Gunn's thing is and see if they do indeed drop a teaser or make an announcement. I'm thinking there's a 10% chance. 10% chance we find out who's playing Batman. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it comes together. All right, what's next?
Raymond says Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3 premieres tomorrow or midnight tonight. But I'm too old to wait up for the new episode. With the new great shows out, do you have time to watch all of them? It took a while for CBS to release Season 3. People forget.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of great shows out that I just don't have the time to watch.
Is that Paramount Plus? What's that on?
It should be Paramount Plus, yes, because of Star Trek.
Yeah.
I straight up love Strange New Worlds. I love that show. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's not my favorite show on TV or anything like that, but all due respect to Robert Meyer Burnett, I think Strange New Worlds is great, so I will definitely be tuning in to watch it. All right, what's next?
Matan says Disney Synergy has reached the Fox properties with Hopper's name-dropping Avatar. Now, where is Alien and Predator crossovers with either Stitch or Phineas and Ferb?
Yeah, you know what? They dropped the trailer today for the new Pixar film Hopper.
Yeah.
And I have not cared about this movie. They did a little thing for it at CinemaCon. Just a little thing for it at CinemaCon. I thought this looks forgettable. Kind of like Elio to me. The trailer's not bad. Let me say, I'm not going to say that the trailer for Hopper is fantastic, but I will say this. It's definitely better than any of the Elio trailers. And I grinned and chuckled a couple of times. I think it looks kind of cute. It already looks better than Elio, so it's looking better than I thought it would. I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to it moving forward. All right, what's next?
Mana Pizza Roll says, with EW, Gunn was asked about a Superman sequel. He responded, what I'm working on is in some way. I mean, yes, but is it a straight up Superman sequel? I would not say necessarily. We are going to get a direct Superman sequel, right?
I don't know. Listen, I'm okay if we don't, as long as we get a lot of Superman. I'm totally fine if we get Superman in a movie and they don't necessarily call it Superman 2. I'm okay with that. It depends on how they handle it and what they do. Are we going to get a Superman 2 at some point?
Probably,
I believe yes.
Probably the other chapters, because he name dropped like chapters like phases. Remember, so it's Gods and Monsters, chapter 1. So maybe in chapter 2 we'll get another one in chapter 3.
I just don't know that we're going to get a direct Superman 2 anytime soon. But clearly we're going to get a lot of Superman. So we'll just see how they manage them. All right, what's next?
Two-parter. Anonymous. People keep saying Man of Steel's opening weekend was bigger than Superman because there were Thursday early access shows, a Walmart exclusive, not included in the opening weekend gross. Midnight premieres were still the norm then, so Thursday wasn't part of the weekend totals.
Yeah, no, look, I'm not even going to address it anymore.
Yeah,
they're wrong.
Yeah.
Just leave it at that. They're wrong. And I say this as the absolute world's biggest Man of Steel fan. Nobody is a bigger Man of Steel fan than me. I don't even know that Zack Snyder's own parents are bigger Man of Steel fans than me. And as the biggest Man of Steel fan in the world, and who has been the most avid and active defender of Man of Steel, and as of right now, Man of Steel is still my favorite Superman movie of all time. No, it didn't. So anyway, just leave it at that. All right, what's next?
Anonymous. FYI, it's only the IMAX 70mm locations going on sale for Odyssey.
Yeah, I believe we mentioned that.
Yeah, and it's only 4 shows, 2 p.m. on Thursday, 7 p.m. on Friday through Sunday, opening weekend. They go on sale midnight, July 17th, 9 p.m. PST. Almost a certainty they will be completely sold out. So yeah, if it's only 4 screenings.
Yeah, and there's only a handful, relatively speaking, there's only a handful of IMAX 70mm theaters. So yeah, I think you're right. I think, you know what? I am going to have to go online though tonight and make sure I buy mine, because I want to get them. I wonder if A-list will work.
I
wouldn't hold it against AMC if it doesn't.
Seems like a special engagement.
Yeah, getting these IMAX. Well, it's not a special engagement.
I know.
This is the regular opening. But I wouldn't hold it against AMC if maybe IMAX won't allow it.
You would lock up a thing for a year.
That's true. You'd be locking up one of your. Oh, that's the key.
Yeah.
Because you can only have 4 movies in your queue at once,
You'd have to
which
get
is
back
fine.
to 3.
But to lock up one of my queue spots for an entire year, you know what? Screw it. Even if they do allow A-list to buy it, I'm just going to buy it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to buy it. I ain't going to lock up one of my A-list spots for a year.
Yeah.
That's a really good point, Jonathan. All right. What's next?
Alex says, "Hey John, big fan. Just an idea. David Cornsweet has shown interest in playing a Star Wars pilot. Think Sean Levy's Starfighter film would be a smash hit if they cast David alongside Ryan Gosling as 2 pilot brothers. Kind of like Independence Day meets Top Gun."
No. Casting David Cornsweet in it will not change the box office of that movie at all. At all. That's not how you cast movies, man. You get the best person for the role. You don't go, "Hey, this guy's hot right now. Let's put him in it." You get the best person for the role. And and hey, listen, if he's got a character in that movie and if Sean Levy thinks David Cornsweet would be the best person to play whatever that character is, great. But you don't go, "Oh, David Cornsweet's hot right now. Let's make up a character for him." That's how movies. And by the way, we no longer live in an era where putting X person in the movie means more box office. That doesn't work anymore. It hasn't worked really. There have been a few exceptions, but that really hasn't worked for a long time. So yeah, I don't think so. All right, what's next?
All right, Imogen says, no question. Well, this is a question, but did you see the lie detector video with David and Nick? It was hilarious. I'm not sure what we're referring to.
Are you talking about David Cornsweet and Nicholas Hoult?
Maybe.
I don't know. They've been doing a lot of promotional stuff. So if they did a lie detector interview together, that's pretty clever. But no, I haven't seen it. It does sound fun, though. All right, what's next?
Let's see. Brian had a 3-parter. "Hi, guys. Sadly, had my first view of the Odyssey teaser in IMAX was ruined by a guy who tapped me on the shoulder to ask if my girlfriend and I could move over a seat because he wanted to join his girlfriend and her group of friends at the end of our row. At first, I said no because I don't know if the empty seat next to me is reserved or not, which it could be. He left and I observed him talking to other people in our row and saw them get up to move to over a seat. So he came back and asked me again to move over a seat. At this point, I agreed and moved over with my girlfriend. He thanked us and proceeded to ask everyone else in our row one at a time if they could move over one seat, and the entire row did. Ever seen or experienced this? Must really love his girlfriend. I've seen that, but
I've not seen it to that extent. All right, I've seen people ask if, "Hey, could you shift one so I can do this?"
Sure.
I think I might have even done that once or twice.
But with reserved seats, you're taking a risk.
Yes, there's a risk involved. Look, here's my general feeling on it. I have no problem with somebody asking, as long as they're cool if you say no. Right? As long as they don't become a little wretch if you say no. I have no problem with somebody asking. I have no problem. But here's what I would have said to him. I said, give me another tap on the shoulder 4 minutes into the movie. If nobody has shown up to take, because I just don't want to be in a position where somebody comes along and says, hey, dude, you're sitting in my seat. Now I feel like an asshole. What I would tell the guy is, tap me on the shoulder again 4 minutes into the movie. If nobody has shown up to take this seat, I'll be willing to take the risk to do a shift over and do that. I just don't want to take the risk that I'm now sitting myself in somebody's else bought seat. But
then everyone has to move again.
Yeah. If the movie comes in like 2 minutes, 2, 3, 4 minutes into the movie and they still haven't shown, I feel pretty good that they're probably not showing up and I'll move over. Yeah. Because then not only do I have to move, but now you got to get up and move and it just becomes a thing. So tap me on the shoulder again a few minutes in. But yes, I have had that happen a number of times and I'm okay with it. I honestly don't mind. I really don't mind somebody asking because if it's no skin off my nose, I don't mind moving over.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What's next?
The Bobster, hi, John. The Incredible Hulk would have been a much longer film if they didn't cut out most of your scene-stealing moments.
Well, I mean, the problem was Ed Norton got very upset that I was upstaging him. I think everybody knows that. And he was just being, whiny little bitch about it and didn't want me stealing all the scenes.
I mean, he didn't work for a long while after that. I think the director was, word got out of his shenanigans. Yeah.
Oh,
but I'm surprised
no.
Your career didn't jump off.
The studio. I got offers, but I like what I'm doing. I liked what I'm doing with the movie blog at the time. But it's really true. He got blacklisted in some corners.
Yeah, that is
Hollywood.
true. Yeah.
And listen, I'm a big Ed Norton fan. But let's just say, I think if he could go back in time, I think he may have conducted himself a little bit differently. I'm not saying he didn't have the right to feel a little slighted at a couple places, but I think if he could go back in time and changed some of his behavior, I think he would, because it just, you're right. I think it just, I personally know some people that just don't ever want to work with him. And that's too bad. That like, I hate that we're a species that we often get judged by our worst day. But yeah, I think he would change things if he could. But hey, listen, he still has his career. He was fantastic in Complete Unknown.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. So but it did derail his career a bit. That whole Hulk experience did derail his career. All right. What's next?
The Bobster, I'd love to see Andor win the top prize, but I think you're sleeping on Severance as a strong front runner. It's not just the 27 nominations. It also became such a big part of pop culture with viewers dissecting every shot, moment, and line of dialogue.
But it wasn't as good as season 1. And I think most people who watch Severance agree.
And these aren't fans voting necessarily. These
yeah,
are
and it's
people,
not fans voting.
These are industry people.
It's very rarely just the most popular thing that wins. And listen, I say that as if I didn't like season 2. I very much like season 2, but it was a step backwards from season 1. And like, look, Pitt was way better than Severance season 2. The Pitt season 1 was much better than Severance season 2. And I think Andor season 2 was much better than Severance season 2. I am all good with Severance getting a nomination. 100% I am. I love the show. I think it's great. But comparing it to the Pitt was on another level. The Pitt, like, I was so shocked. I didn't have a lot of interest in the Pitt. I started watching it late. I started watching it after its like 4th episode, and I went back and started because everybody was talking about how great this show is. Okay, it's just another hospital procedural, man. How good can it be? It's phenomenal. It's so good. And that's the reason. If it wasn't for the Pitt, I would say Andor's got it wrapped up, but I actually have a feeling it's going to be the Pitt. All right, what's next?
This is cool. Anonymous. I might wait then. FYI, John and Jonathan. F1 will be back in 40X at certain locations this weekend for an early show. Not everywhere. I believe your only options would be Irvine Spectrum, which is pretty far from me.
That's the closest one for me anyway. I think.
For you. For me, that's a drive. That's past Disneyland.
By the way, Irvine Spectrum, first of all, forget the Regal.
Irvine
Spectrum is an awesome place to go hang out. Ann and I, about once a month, we just get in the car and drive to Irvine Spectrum and pick a place to eat out of their 50 restaurants and go. They've got like several shops that have hot toys in them and things like that, a big Apple store. It's an amazing place to hang out. And we've gone to movies at that Regal there. No, I haven't gone to the 4DX there, but it's a good movie theater.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie theater.
Yep. And yeah, and then also mentions Mira Mason, San Diego. Those would be really hard for me to get to from my spot. The Bobster, humble brag, among the top Emmy nominees, my son worked on the music for Paradise.
Oh, nice.
Severance. I love the music on Only Murders. He currently is working on Avatar 3 as we speak. I would have loved to work in the film industry, but seeing his success is even more exciting.
Dude, that is so cool. That
Really?
is so cool. I mean,
That's
clearly
really cool.
your son's not just, clearly your son is established if he's working on all those high profile things. Congrats, man. That is really awesome. Thanks for sharing that, dude.
Only Murders is like the only, we talk sometimes about, do you skip the opening credits? Because I love Only Murders, the music, I play it every time for each episode. Gets me in the episode. FYI, the reason for the Universal logo in Australia is a few years ago, Universal closed its offices in India, and WB took over for the distribution of all films in that country. In exchange, Universal saw a little bit more, so they did an exchange, is distributing in Australia.
Interesting.
They did swapsies.
Thanks for dropping that fact. So I always love it when our audience is able to send in more context. I love that. Thank you, man.
SB is back. The barber. Should Wonder Woman keep her theme from the Snyderverse? Also, no. Also, do you think the Justice League will get a theme like the Avengers, or just use their individualized themes?
They'll definitely get a theme.
Yeah. The DC has, I think he means, the DC has iconic themes for Bats and Soups, but still think a Justice League theme could be dope.
There will 100% be a general theme for Justice League. 100% there
has to be.
Regarding the Wonder Woman thing, now look, I love the Wonder Woman music from the DCEU. With Tina Gao rocking her electric violin and Hans Zimmer's score. It's great. Man, when I went to go see Hans Zimmer play in Los Angeles,
I saw him at Coachella years ago. He's so fun.
They brought Tina Gao out on stage and they rocked that whole Wonder Woman theme, man.
Yeah.
The place is jumping. It's great. But the John Williams score is decades and decades and decades entrenched
in generations.
It's multi-generational. That theme is entrenched in our understanding of Superman. You cannot say the same thing about that Wonder Woman score. That was just in the DCEU. So no, I think you're wiping away the old DCEU that killed itself, and you're bringing in a brand new DCU. The character's got to have its own new theme. Now, with Superman, you make a bit of an exception because that's a theme that literally, as Jonathan pointed out, stretches generations. But you can't say the same thing about the new Wonder Woman theme. As much as I love it, you can't say the same thing about it. All right, is there more?
One more.
All right, let's take this last one.
Anonymous. Hi, John. Zack Snyder makes Man of Steel 2. James Gunn makes Superman 2. You can only watch one ever. Who do you choose?
The DCEU is dead, so I go to see the Superman.
Yeah.
I go to see James Gunn.
I know that surprises people, but knowing you enough, I'm like, he's gonna want to see the James. He's want to move forward.
Yeah, it move forward. The DCEU is dead.
Yeah,
it's dead. There's no point. So, as much as I love the Man of Steel, and you all know how much I love Man of Steel, that cinematic universe is dead. So if I could only see one, well, I'm going to see the one of the alive and thriving new cinematic universe. So that's the one that I would do.
Yep.
All right, guys. And that'll do it for our time here today on the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you guys so very much for your support. Hey guys, don't forget to come on back and join us again tomorrow for the next installment of the show. We'll look forward to having you guys there. Big thank you to Robert Meyer Burnett. Of course, our technical director and producer, Jonathan Voico.
Keeping those facts coming.
My name's John Campea. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.